Heavy radio static. Fast breathing. Metal slamming underground. Mercer, terrified whisper. Elena, the kids, they're not kids. Elena screaming through dispatch audio. Mercer, get out now. The blueprints were fake. There's no exit down there. Then, a little girl's voice cuts through the static. Calm, too calm. He locked it again. Loud metal slam. Cut to title. At exactly 2:13 a.m., dispatcher Elena Ruiz received a call that made her blood run cold. Not because of the voice, because of the location. 911, what's your emergency? Only breathing answered her at first. Vet, shaky. Then a little girl whispered, please don't let him hear you. What's your location? Static crackled violently. Then the child answered, St. Mary's Elementary. Elena Ruiz. St. Mary's burned down in 2004. 31. Yet Elena's screen showed an active trace. The call was coming from the old property itself. Sweetheart, there's no school there anymore. Silence. Then, that's what they told everybody. Something scraped loudly in the background. Metal against concrete. Slow. Getting closer. Elena dispatched Officer Daniel Mercer immediately. At 2:19 a.m., Mercer arrived at the abandoned property. Rain covered the ruins. Broken fencing leaned into the mud. Then his headlights swept across the playground and caught a little girl standing beside the swings. Barefoot, motionless. Her dress looked burnt. Mercer grabbed his flashlight. The girl vanished instantly. Elena, Mercer whispered into the radio, you still connected to the caller? Yes. Ask if she's outside. Maddie, are you outside? The girl answered immediately. No. Mercer slowly looked back toward the empty playground. The swings started moving by themselves. Back at dispatch, Elena searched archive files on St. Mary's. One detail stood out immediately. The official blueprints showed no basement. Yet, witness statements from 2004 repeatedly mentioned underground hallways. Then Elena found something worse. An archived emergency call from the night of the fire. Timestamp 2:13 a.m. Same location and assigned to the call. Dispatcher Elena Ruiz. Her stomach tightened. That was impossible. She wasn't even born yet. Mercer interrupted. I found something. Near the center of the property sat a rusted metal door buried beneath weeds. Slightly open. Yellow light leaked from underneath. There's no basement on county records, Mercer whispered. The blueprints lied, Elena replied. Then, the little girl whispered softly through the headset. He made them erase it. Mercer descended underground. Warm air carried the smell of burned wood and mold. Children's desks stretched through long hallways beneath the school ruins. Tiny backpacks still sat beneath chairs. Fresh barefoot footprints led deeper inside. Elena, this place is real. Then suddenly, the singing stopped. Every sound disappeared, like the basement itself was listening. Back at dispatch, Elena enhanced the audio from Maddie's call. Hidden beneath the static was another voice. Deep, male, repeating calmly, stay in your seats. Another dispatcher opened archive evidence photos from 2004. One image showed a missing videotape labeled Basement Cam Tre. Elena looked back at Mercer's body cam feed. Mounted above the underground hallway was the same camera, still there after 20 years. Mercer reached a burned classroom door covered in tiny black handprints. He pushed it open slowly and froze. 31 burned children sat silently at desks. At the front of the room stood a tall man in a teacher's suit, back turned toward Mercer, holding an attendance sheet. The man slowly tilted his head sideways. Bones cracked loudly. Then every child whispered together. You came back. Mercer stumbled backward. The teacher began walking toward him slowly, and behind him, basement cam 3 was still recording. Elena Mercer That's Principal Vane. Elena felt sick. Principal Harold Vane officially died in the fire 20 years earlier. Suddenly, all 31 children looked directly into Mercer's body cam and whispered together. He locked the doors. Mercer ran. Lights exploded behind him one by one. Tiny footsteps chased him through darkness. He reached the staircase and stopped. The stairs were gone. Only solid concrete remained. Elena, he shouted. There's no exit. Back in dispatch, Elena finally uncovered the truth. The original basement blueprints existed. But after the fire, every emergency exit route had been removed from county records. Someone erased the basement intentionally. To hide what happened there, heavy footsteps echoed behind Mercer. Slow, dragging, getting closer. Then a little girl spoke beside him, not through the radio, right next to him. He locked us in when the fire started. Mercer slowly turned. Dozens of burned children stood silently behind him. not angry, terrified, looking past Mercer into the darkness at something approaching. Every dispatch monitor suddenly flickered black. Then one screen turned back on. Basement comme tre. The footage showed children hiding under desks while smoke filled the base. Principal Vane stood near the exit door, locking it from the outside. One little girl pounded on the glass, screaming. Maddie, timestamp. March 18, 2004. 2:13 a.m. Then the footage glitched. Every child slowly turned toward the camera together, including Maddie, who whispered, "Now he locks people in with us." Mercer's screaming exploded through the radio. Metal slam, then silence. The body cam disconnected. Officer Mercer was found 2 days later sitting outside the St. Mary's ruins. Barefoot, alive, but changed. Detectives later asked what the children were afraid of. Mercer stared silently at the table before whispering. Their teacher survived the fire. The basement of St. Mary's was never found on any map. But tonight, check your phone's GPS. If it shows you're standing on broken concrete, run. Like and share if you want to see the archive footage from Basement Cam 3.